Okay, so I've got a lot of video requests from you guys. I absolutely love it. And my last few videos, I have been flooded with video requests. So we're gonna take these one at a time. I love it. Keep it coming, guys. Love you. Want to be able to make great content for you. So love the feedback. I got a question from a subscriber today asking if I could do a video on the release. It's not a new release. This tank has been in the game for a little bit of time. So it's been released before. It's now in the store. So if you go into the game, go to the store, you'll see this tank. It's the Panzer 58 Mutz. And when I first saw this thing, I'm like, man, it kind of just looks like the jack of all trades. Like, good at a lot of things, but master of nothing. And there were some things where I actually stood corrected when I started diving into the stats. I don't personally have this tank yet, but after looking at some of the stats, there were some things that actually impressed me, and now I'm starting to think twice. So in a way, after I got this request for this video and started doing research, I almost sold myself on the thing a little bit, which was kind of funny. So it's in the store, 8,000 gold. I don't think it comes with all the modules, everything upgraded. That may cost extra. 8,000, not bad for a tier 8. Going in and looking at this thing, this is what kind of impressed me, was it compared to some of its counterpart medium tanks at tier 8 that have 10 degrees of gun depression. I compared this thing to the Indian Panzer because that's the tank I thought was the most similar, or it functioned almost exactly alike. And I stood corrected. The Panzer Mutz is actually a better tank in a lot of ways compared to the Indian Panzer. Yes, it still has the 10 degrees of gun depression like a lot of the tanks I compared it to. I compared it to the Indian Panzer, the STA-1, the M26 Pershing, the Centurion, tier 8 medium. So, I mean, some noteworthy tanks that maybe you would compare it against, especially if you're looking to play with something of 10 degrees of gun depression. So I don't have the data pulled up here in front of me, but it actually, this tank performs better in the ways that it has better maneuverability and speed, like engine to engine power to weight ratio, better camo, and it also has better frontal armor than the Indian Panzer. Not just the Indian Panzer, but a lot of these other medium tanks. After looking at the stats of the Panzer 58, the way on how you want to play this, definitely utilize its 10 degrees of gun depression. You want to take this thing out on hills where you're on slopes, you're able to peek out that turret. You've got a decently armored turret that you can bounce a good amount of stuff here. And in this replay, this player knows what he's doing. This is how you want to be playing with this thing. In places, like I had mentioned, utilizing your gun depression. You've got that armor, you can bounce. You do want to be a little bit more careful against tier 9, but you can end up being a little bit of a pain to the enemy. So being on flanks, making sure to use those barriers of distance to not get over flooded by the enemy. Definitely being aware of where your teammates are, utilizing them, being a support, and being a spotter. Get in areas. This thing has better maneuverability and speed than the M28 Pershing, the Indian Panzer, the Centurion. So I mean, you've got some good speed. So you can get to places to spot faster than some other medium tanks at your tier. So you can really utilize that to your advantage. So just some quick tips on how to utilize this tank when playing it, just from looking at some of the stats and the replays. And so And even from this replay, you can see a lot of the bounces. So very, very impressive. That so in a way I was kind of sold on this thing after going through some of this. So this tank is actually not that bad. It's a lot better than I was thinking. Overall, it's got it's almost got the same exact cannon as the Indian Panzer. That's the most similar tank you're going to compare it to in the game. But, like I said, all in all, this thing has better armor, better camo, and better speed and maneuverability, which in my mind, that may make it noteworthy of purchasing, and especially, you know, for the 8,000 gold tag. So honestly, not bad. Anyway, Stud Muffin 1986, hope you guys found this helpful. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.